That's right, we're happy, ladies and gentlemen, because why? It is Friday, and we are broadcasting live from the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City at their brand new sports book. It doesn't get any better than this. The Daily Ticket with Sean Brace happening 3 to 6 Monday through Friday, and you're listening to Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. We're loving it. We're loving what we're doing here, and coming up at 6 o'clock, it's only going to get better as we got the president of the Hard Rock, Mr. Joe Lupo, and Gerald Colton, my man, who knows it all when it comes to what's going on inside the athlete's mind, how they're approaching the games, and very, very passionate Philadelphia sports fan, but no sports through and through. And, he's going back, and he's the king of useless knowledge. He told me to toss him a year, and he could name MVPs, who won the championships from those years. So I'm going to test his knowledge out coming up in that 6 o'clock, maybe 7 o'clock hour, see if I can hop on with those two. But they do a great show, and if you are a sports gambler, which at the end of the day, aren't we all? That show is specifically for you. And you can only find that at one place, and that's right here, Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, plenty to discuss as Sunday NFL football will be here in just about 48 hours, and there are a ton of games to choose from, so making sense of all of those lines, and of course, we're going to dive into the Battle of the Birds with the Falcons and the Eagles, little Sunday night football that has a lot of people guessing. We got our one and only Mr. Adrian Fedque on the line. Adrian is our Eagles insider for The Gambler, and of course, covers the Birds for PhillyInfluencer.com. You can read him there. Adrian, how you doing, my friend, on this wonderful Friday afternoon?
You said it.
It's 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock.
It is Friday the 13th. We've got a full moon tonight, and I'm going to be howling right now because we're running down this whole board. Let's go.
Ow! You didn't howl. I need you to howl.
I can't howl like you. That's a good howl. Oh!
There you go. Yeah, you got to howl, baby. It's actually a harvest moon. Shout out to Neil Young. Great jam. It's actually a harvest moon tonight. All right, let's get to it, Adrian. Here we go. We'll save the Birds for the last game, but let's kick things off with the Titans and Colts. That line right now at Hard Rock is at 3.5. The Titans are favored. Colts came back last week, came up just a tad short against the Chargers in L.A., but they're home now. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I actually came away impressed.
It's actually at Tennessee. I got that wrong. I apologize. At Tennessee.
Okay. That's okay. But I came away impressed with the Colts last week to come from behind, get that game to overtime, and Marlon Mack runs for 174 yards in this game. And during the summer, Frank Reich talked about the Colts wanting them to be a top 5 running team. And this offensive line, it dominates, especially this left side. Anthony Costanzo, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly. I think there's value here in the 3.5. I think the Titans off that Week 1 victory, 43-13, now coming home, I can see them coming down a little bit. Colts on the road getting the 3.5. I'm going to take the Colts here, especially with the running game going the way it was last week.
I love that 0.5. You know what I say, don't ever get beat by the hook, but if you're taking the Colts, definitely get that 0.5, that's for sure. All right, keeping it moving, Giants and Bills. I talked about quality underdogs. I believe the Giants are a quality underdog here. Look, the Bills look good in that Week 1 to battle back and come away with that victory. I got to give credit where credit is due. They're returning to the scene of the crime in MetLife Stadium. But as far as I'm concerned, I think the Giants have enough firepower to get it done, especially at home. Your thoughts, though?
Yeah, it definitely feels like a little bit of an overreaction by the public due to the Giants' loss to the Cowboys. Looked really bad in that first half. But Buffalo, I mean, this might speak to the Jets' ineptitude to lose a game, to turn the ball over 4 times. They lose that game, blew a 16-0 lead. This game is a game I may not even touch, but if I had to touch it, I'd take the home dog. I'd take the Giants here.
All right, and then now the Lions and the Chargers here. And this is an interesting one because Detroit, they played bad in that second half, and that's almost like a loss. You know, they tied Arizona with the rookie quarterback, the rookie head coach, coughed up that lead in the second half, and now they're going home. But the Chargers had that victory. They almost coughed it up as well. This is an interesting spot for both teams. As I have it up in front of me, it looks like 74% of the betting public are on the Chargers, who are giving 2 points on the road at Detroit. What's your view on this game?
Yeah, 74% of the public. I don't know if I feel so good about the Chargers right now, but in terms of what I'm seeing on paper and in terms of the roster, I'm looking at those tackles. Taylor Decker, Rick Wagner really struggled against Terrell Suggs and Chandler Jones last week. Well, now they got to go up against Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram, so that's not going to get easier for them. I'm looking at a big mismatch there. I think the Chargers take advantage of that, go into Detroit. They were 7-1 on the road last year, so Chargers, as a road team, pretty much a home team, because that StubHub Center doesn't really give them a home advantage anyway. So I'm going to take the Chargers here with the 1.5.
All right. This game is interesting because the line opened up with the 49ers originally being the favorite as they're on the road at Cincinnati. The Niners did get away with that Week 1 victory at Tampa. Bengals not so much for them as they were in Seattle. But here we are. It opened up as the Niners are 1.5 point favorite. It is now swung, and this is at the Hard Rock. It is now swung in Cincinnati's favor. They are now a 1 point favorite as this game is kicking off at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Your thoughts?
Yeah, interesting here. I haven't liked what I've seen from Jimmy Garoppolo. I felt like that Week 1 victory was more about Jameis Winston kind of gift-wrapping the game for San Francisco more than them kind of winning it. Nick Bosa does look like a beast. I really like what I saw from him in the opener. Joe Mixon is questionable with an ankle injury, so that's an injury to look at here as we approach kickoff, because if he's not playing, I probably wouldn't take the Bengals here. But really impressed by Zach Taylor's scheme in Week 1. Andy Dalton did get sacked 5 times, but 414 yards. John Ross had a big game there, kind of a breakout game for him, Tyler Boyd. So I'm going to take the Bengals here. I'm just kind of not liking what I'm seeing from the Niners, and even though they're my dark horse coming into the season, Cincinnati does tend to kind of start hot before kind of fading away. So I'm going to take Cincinnati here.
I got the Niners on the season total for their over. Cincinnati scares me, but that line and the movement right there, especially here at the Hard Rock, as it now as the Bengals are a 1 point favorite at home, it's got me questioning that game. So I kind of like your take on that. All right, this game, I preach to Pittsburgh Steelers Nation to have a little patience, please. I know you got smoked 33-3 against the Patriots to open up the year, but it's the Patriots, and right now they got Seattle coming to Heinz Stadium in Pittsburgh, and this line opened up at 3.5 and has stayed put at 3.5. Your thoughts on the Steelers and the Seahawks?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'd probably stay away from this game. I don't really want to touch this one. If I had to bet, I'd take Seattle because of that half a point, the 3.5. So last week, I mean, you kind of talked about it. Pittsburgh really struggled offensively, picked up only 3 first downs, 87 yards in the first half. They were down 20-0. So if they struggle again, I'm going to start getting worried. I just don't know if they are going to struggle again because this is a Seahawks defense that surrendered 418 yards to Andy Dalton last week. So what are we going to see here? I'm going to take the Seahawks with the 3.5. I'm not feeling good about it. I wouldn't touch this game, to be honest.
All right. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio again. We're presented by Cure Auto Insurance. Sean Brace broadcasting live from the Hard Rock Hotel Casino in Atlantic City in their beautiful new sports book. Stop down and say what's up. We got Mitchell and Ness here. We got the ground crew here. Everybody's having a lot of fun. A lot of energy in the air, and I got the great Adrian Fedke on the phone right now, our Eagles insider. We're going over the game. Howl for me, Adrian. Oh! There you go. There you go. All right,
that
keep
was a
them
good
moving.
One.
That was
a little
good.
energy in that one.
That was. All right, that's what we got to bring. We got to bring energy to the masses as Green Bay and their 1-0 record open up the season at Lambeau, open up their home season at Lambeau this Sunday, taking on the Vikings. This is a 1 o'clock kick. It opened at 3 points. It stayed at 3 points. Minnesota with an impressive Week 1 victory over Atlanta. They ran the ball efficiently. They threw the ball 10 times and smoked Atlanta. Your thoughts on this one? I'm telling you straight up that I like the Vikings in this game.
Okay, all right. I think Hard Rock nailed this. Not only the 3-point line there, but the 43 over-under. I think it's going to be right on that number. I got 23-20 Packers, so I got to push City here. But you look at the matchup here. I look at Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith. They combined for 10 pressures in Week 1. Zadarius's 6 pressures led the NFL in Week 1, but what's Minnesota going to do? They're probably going to run the football. Kirk Cousins only threw the ball 10 times. And what Dalvin Cook did was get free along the boundary. So Minnesota letting him use his speed and balance through contact, and that's what we saw in that Week 1 performance against Atlanta. They bounced out to a 21-0 lead, I believe. Atlanta could just not stop the run. So we saw a great pass rush from Green Bay in Week 1, but this week we're going to see if they have this improved rush defense, because this is going to be all about stopping Dalvin Cook on the ground. I think Green Bay has this one. 7 games with a career passer rating of 130-plus against Minnesota for Aaron Rodgers. That's the most by a quarterback against one team in NFL history.
Wow.
24 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in those 7 games. So
what?
I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to go with him and the experience, going with the captain. So Packers here.
All right, you know that 6-pack I want off you for that Texans game? Let's go ahead and push it on this game now. We might make that a 12-pack.
Okay.
All right, so it's on that game. We're going to head-to-head. All right, quickly on this one, because I know, well, you know what? You could sell me the Miami Dolphins, because it is a big number, but I talk about quality dogs, and the Dolphins are anything but that. But they are an 18.5-point underdog here, taking on the Patriots at home dog. Look, the Patriots just rolled out 33-3 to open up the season. They got Antonio Brown. He did not end up on the commissioner's exempt list as of yet. Could still happen over the weekend, but they're talking about allowing him to play. That's totally in Bill Belichick's wheelhouse. I think he would go out there and he will run up the score, but I'm not comfortable with that number. I'm staying away from the game. Your thoughts, though?
Yeah, I'm with you there. 18.5. That's just so many points. Dolphins have also won, I believe it's 5 of the last 6 straight-up meetings in Miami, which is crazy. But when you look at that trend, I mean, we got a new head coach now in Miami, so I don't really look at that seriously. And you look at that offensive line. You got Jesse Davis starting at left tackle, third-year player who played guard last year. Their left guard is a third-round rookie. Daniel Kilgore is their best lineman. He's okay. Danny Isidora is a third-year player. He was a fifth-round pick. And then Julian Davenport you just got from Houston. I mean, you got guys off the scrap heap playing along the offensive line on Miami. If there's a play here, I think it's actually the under on the 49, over-under. I think if there's a play, it's that, because I think the Patriots are going to run the ball a lot because the Dolphins struggle to stop the run. And I think the Dolphins are going to try to run the ball just to get out of Miami alive and have this be a respectable loss, quote-unquote. So if there's a play, I think it's actually the under here.
Well, I'll tell you what, something to keep our eye on. And Butch, the sportsbook director from here in the Hard Rock, told me there's a little bit of a tropical storm that might have an impact on this game, so that number keeps coming south. For the people out there that probably want to wager on this game, possibly want to wager on this game, you need to go ahead and get in on that number now, because it's probably going to move as that storm gets closer. Something else to keep our eyes on is the Central Florida game. They're taking on Stanford, a 9-point spread right now as we speak, and that number continues to come south on the total. And I had it in front of me. I apologize. 62.5. It is now down to 59.5 at the Hard Rock. So again, something to keep our eyes on. The weather, big impact, the weather. All right, keeping it moving. Adrian Fedque, our Eagles insider for Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. We're broadcasting live from the Hard Rock here in Atlantic City. Ravens and Cardinals, talking about big spreads here, Adrian. Ravens, 12.5 at home, taking on the Cards. That number was at 13 at one point. It is now down to 12.5 at the Hard Rock with the total set at 46. Big number. I like Kyler Murray. I'm going to go ahead and take the Cards on this one.
Yeah, if there's an overreaction from Week 1, if there's a big overreaction from Week 1, it's this one. 12.5 points, that's a lot here, especially for a Ravens offense. I know they scored 59 points, but it is the Dolphins. The Dolphins might be historically bad this year. We'll see. It seems like people want to leave. You have the report of Minka Fitzpatrick want to leave. Like, who knows what's going to go on in Miami. But 12.5, that's a lot. I'm not big on the Cardinals. I don't think they're going to win a lot of games, but Baltimore going to look to pound it on the ground most of the time. That's what we're going to see from them. So 12.5, that's just a high number. I'm going to take Arizona here. Play the number.
Right. NFC East battle between the Skins and Cowboys. I said Cleveland Browns fans need to have patience. I said Steelers fans need to have patience. And on the other side of that coin, I told the Cowboys fans they got to bring it down just a little bit, all right? Not so much patience, but just calm it down just a notch, because you guys are all fired up. Dak Prescott is not going to throw for 400 yards in every game, and not every secondary will look like the Giants secondary. But the Skins don't look that much better than the Giants, that's for sure. What's your thought in this game, as it looks like a 6-point spread here at the Hard Rock in favor of the Cowboys?
Yeah, the number that stood out to me that I saw, 11-2 against the spread in their last 3 years against NFC opponents, NFC East opponents. That is Dallas. So that's the number to look at there. And I look at this Washington team and that secondary, and it started out slow with Carson Wentz, only 38 yards when he started 8 of 11. But then once he opened it up, it was easy pickings against that secondary, and I think we're going to see some of the same here. I like what I saw from Kellen Moore's scheme, actually. It was kind of creative, a little explosive, and, it's the Giants, so, we don't want to look too much into that. But I would probably take the Cowboys here and the 6 points.
All right, Jags and Texans. This is a real interesting game due to the fact that Nick Foles got hurt. Insert Gardner Minshew. Did I get that name right?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
And you were telling me the same thing that Tansy was saying, that you like what he looks, or you liked his style of play, and that number is set at 8 right now, and I'm looking at the numbers here. 75% of the money is on the Jags. It is a big, big, big spread. I could see why people would bite up the Jags, but the Texans look really good, and I like Deshaun Watson, especially they're coming off of that loss. They got to be amped to get back out there on the field. Again, that number has me leaning towards the Jags. I'm just not sold. Where are you at?
Yeah, I would have taken the Jags, and then I heard that number there at 75%. I don't know if I feel so hot about that anymore. But Gardner Minshew, you talked about him. I mean, he was 22 of 25, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rookie out of Washington State, insane. Now, there are going to be some injuries on Jacksonville's side of the ball. Yannick Ngakoue is out with a hamstring injury. Obviously, we know about Nick Foles. Cam Robinson, their left tackle, with a knee injury. So if Jacksonville covers, it's going to be because they shorten the game and they run the ball effectively with Leonard Fournette, and that's going to be the key there. So moving the chains, keeping the clock churning, and that's how you can get the cover. But honestly, I'm not touching this game. I think this is a tough call here with the 8. Yeah. I think Texans, it wouldn't surprise me if they cover.
All right, let's head over to the AFC 405 kick. Chiefs and Raiders. Raiders, the home dog, catching 6.5 according to the Hard Rock. Posted total at 53. Andy Reid and that offensive firepower, those weapons that Patrick Mahomes has, they haven't even tapped into Shady just yet. There's a lot to like, but how about on the other side? Jacobs, big-time debut for the Raiders. A lot to like with Grudog as well. I just don't know if they could keep up with the Chiefs. What's your view? Well, how do you view this game, Adrian?
I'd feel better if the number was at 7 instead of 6.5. If it was at 7, I'd probably play the Raiders here. 6.5, I don't know so much. So Kansas City lost Tyreek Hill, but obviously Sammy Watkins was the one who had the big game in Week 1 anyway, so 197 yards and 3 touchdowns. You talked about Josh Jacobs, and I thought the Raiders looked a lot better than I thought they would. Maybe the Broncos are just that bad, but offensive line was better than I thought it would. Derek Carr looked pretty good. So I'm going to take the 6.5 here and the Raiders, but the Chiefs are going to win the game.
All right, and we'll get into the Broncos in just a second. They're coming up next after this one because this is probably my favorite game of the weekend. Besides the Battle of the Birds, this is probably my favorite game of the weekend, though. I'm going to be honest with everybody. It's the Rams and Saints. There's the revenge factor. There's the review that absolutely is. It's a disaster. I mean, they changed it in the offseason. You can review pass interference, but if you saw the game last night, their coaches are going to lose reviews because it's not pass interference when it's illegal contact. And it's going to be a learning curve for all of these coaches, but I really look forward to the battle of these two offenses. Both the total is at 52 here at the Hard Rock. Rams, I believe, it opened up as a 2.5-point favorite. It's now down to 1.5. How do you view this game, Adrian?
You said the 52 over-under. That's the play here. I think it's going to go over. I think both sides look really good offensively and vulnerable defensively in Week 1. And you look at New Orleans and kind of how they start slow. So if I was playing the spread, I would probably take the Rams here. So Saints normally start slow, and the Rams normally start hot. So that's why I would take the Rams, although I am a little iffy about picking the game because the Saints are the ones who have all the motivation coming in with the 2 losses last year and what happened with the NFC Championship game. So if I had to make a bet on this game, I would bet on the over-under and pick the over.
Sean Brace and Adrian Fedke. We're live from Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Check us out. Brand new sports book. Come on down and say what's up. Broncos and Bears. And this is something I didn't bring up previously talking about the Green Bay Packers, but, they kicked off the season. That was a long time ago. So they've had all this time to get ready for their next game. Bears, looking at what the Broncos did, this is a really interesting number. I do know that the Broncos are extremely tough at Mile High, including in openers. They're 7-0 in their last season openers, home openers. They are a 2.5-point home dog. And the Bears, I'm not sold on Mitch Trubisky. I just don't know if I'm really confident to put some money on the Broncos just yet. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, this is the game that I'm not touching. This is a tough call here. I don't know what the Bears are with their offense, and the Broncos, they might be really bad. They might be 4 or 5 win team here because of what happened with the Raiders. So Bears played last Thursday. Denver played on Monday. I think that's a big advantage here for Chicago, the fact that Denver played the last game of Week 1, and the Bears played the first game on Thursday night. So I think there's an advantage there, getting a couple extra days. 7-0 in their last 7 openers. That's an interesting number there.
Yeah.
I'd stay away from it, but if I had to play it, I'd take the Bears.
All right. We're saving the best for last. It's the Falcons and Birds, so that's why we're fast-forwarding to Monday night. Sam Darnold is out, and according to reports, Sam Darnold is going to be out for a long time, including in 3 weeks when the Birds and the Jets, I believe that game is at MetLife. Is that correct, Adrian? That game's at MetLife? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he will miss that game, supposedly, but he is definitely missing out on this Monday night game against the Browns. Browns got to be licking their chops to get back out there on the field. The number opened up at 2.5 as a 2.5-point road favorite. Monday Night Football at MetLife, now up to 6.5 right here at the Hard Rock with the posted total at 44, which is really interesting because I saw a number of books set at 41, 42. So if you want to gamble, you want to wager on the under, now is the time to get in on that number here at the Hard Rock. Your thoughts on this Monday night showdown between the Jets and Browns?
Yeah, I like the 2.5 play before the mono happened, and now that Sam Darnold's out and Trevor Simeon's in with the 6.5, that's a tough play now because I don't even know if there's even such a difference between Darnold and Simeon. So Darnold, the second-year quarterback, I'm just not really that high on him. And if you looked at Adam Gase's press conference yesterday, he looked like completely distraught, just not something you want to see from your head coach. I mean, it's just the complete opposite of what we saw from Doug Peterson when Carson Wentz went down.
He's just a replica of New York Jets fans. I mean, right now they're defeated.
Yeah,
their season is over. Their season's over. It's done.
Yeah. So I mean, that deflation makes me want to play the Browns here. But man, this is a tough game because of the 6.5.
All right. Well, so you got to play. You're going to go with the Browns on that one?
I'm going to go with the Browns. The Browns.
And finally, it's the final game here on our card. Great job, Adrian, is getting all through every game here. Fox Sports Radio to Gamble, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. Sean Brace and Adrian Fedke. Adrian is our Eagles insider. You can read him at PhillyHipster.com. Let's talk about the Battle of the Birds, Falcons and Eagles. Eagles are a 2-point favorite. Sunday Night Football again. You want to talk about a team that's licking their chops to get back out there, it's got to be the Falcons. The way they showed up in that Week 1 debacle up in Minnesota, Matt Ryan struggling, Kirk Cousins not having to do anything. The Vikings ran the ball straight down the throats of the Falcons. So with that being said, I look at this Eagles team as one of the best I've seen in quite some time. They got weapons all over the place. I think the blueprint is there. I mean, I know the bias is coming in. I'm leaning towards the Eagles here, but a lot of people, a lot of national perspectives are coming in and saying the Falcons as a home dog is a solid choice. What is your view on this game, Adrian?
The home dog is a solid choice because of this, the 1-2 record that Doug Peterson possesses in Week 2. And I just remember the game last year in Tampa Bay and then 2 years ago against Kansas City, just these struggles and these tough games and going on the road. This is not going to be an easy game here on Sunday night. No, so the key here is getting after Matt Ryan. Eagles' defensive line basically didn't touch Case Keenum last week. They had 1 sack. That was it. Derek Barnett had 3 hurries. And then the combination of Brandon Graham, Vinny Curry, and Josh Sweat didn't even get 1. So great stuff from Jigsaw, Tony Cotillo, on the information there on the Philly Influencer Facebook page. So I got that one from him. But this offensive line here, their right tackle is a first-rounder by the name of Caleb McGarry. Their other first-rounder is out with a broken foot. So their left guard, Chris Lindstrom, is not playing. James Carpenter and Jamon Brown are now your guards. So this is a huge mismatch on paper. But there was such a huge mismatch on paper last week with Eric Flowers in the left side of the offensive line of Washington's, and the Eagles couldn't take advantage of it. So this week, I don't know if they are going to get the pass rush going, and it's going to be important because if you look at how the Falcons play offensively and the routes that Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley run, they run the deep play action with the deep posts, the deep in routes, the go routes. That's what they like to run. And obviously, in order for those passes to be completed, you need to have time and protection for Matt Ryan. So that's the key to the game here. If the Eagles get after Matt Ryan, they're able to pressure him consistently, they're going to win the game, they're going to cover. If they don't, then Matt Ryan and the Falcons will come away with the victory. And because of the Week 2 1-2 record that Doug Peterson possesses and kind of what I saw last week, I think the Eagles are going to struggle during this first month before kind of getting it going, and I think this is going to be a loss in Atlanta for Philly.
All right. I knew you were going there. And that's all right. That's all right. It's a long season. I don't expect the Birds to go 16-0. What I do know is this, and I know you agree with me on this. They're never going to be out of ball clubs. Ball games. If every one of their players remain healthy, and that's a big if, but especially for this weekend, they can go down early with a slow start, and I expect that in Atlanta. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be rocking. It's a tough place to play. But the fact that you got Deshaun Jackson over the top, Zach Ertz underneath, Dallas Goedert, the three-headed monster out of the backfield with Darren Sproles getting the touches early in the season, I have no problem with that. They're never going to be out of this game. So for the folks that want to pony up and take the Falcons, I'm going to pull a Berman on you. Be careful what you wish for. That's all I'm going to say. So we're going to battle on that one, FedQ. And, hey, here's the deal. For the people out there, look, we're broadcasting live from the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Great place to catch the game. But if you're not going to be here, we'll be doing our pregame at Jug Handle Inn, man. Our first away pregame show, 7 to 8 p.m., Cinnaminson, New Jersey. Adrian Fedke, myself, and Eric Jensen, the dude from Drums and Flats fame, will be joining us. Can't wait for that, my friend. And thank you very much for hopping on this show, and I will see you on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely see you on Sunday, and can't wait for that wing review. Can't wait to try those wings.
And you know what? The Hard Rock have great wings as well. I got to do a review, actually, coming up here. Thank you for the reminder. Adrian Fedke, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you follow him at Adrian Fedke. Read him at PhillyEvitzer.com. And he does a great job for covering the Eagles for Fox Sports Radio to Gamble, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. Thanks, Adrian. Talk to you later.
You're the man. Thanks.
Good stuff there. All right, keeping the party moving. Coming up at 6 o'clock. It's a Hard Rock Life. President of the Hard Rock, Joe Lupo, and my guy Gerald Colton take the airwaves, take the baton, and come through strong, and that all kicks off at 6 o'clock. We still got plenty more to go right here in the Daily Ticket with Sean Brace. Once again, Fox Sports, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance, and we're back after this.